This is Oscar Bevis for the Stomping Ground, powered by Wow Hydrate and available on the DAZN. K-Dog, what's happening?
I love saying the Stomping Ground, I just love that name. It's belter.
It's even better now we got the mic covers.
I know, it's very posh mic.
Do you know
covers.
what? Looking at a whistled up Kalle Sauerland with a Stomping Ground mic, I think we've made it.
I was just about to say, I mean, you know, we are here today in this secret location to announce a new chapter, but we're also announcing a new chapter for Stomping Ground because they've got these fantastic mic covers. So forget the fact we just announced the Super Bowl of crossover boxing, Misfits hitting Qatar, Doha in Formula 1 week. Live on DAZN pay-per-view with the biggest names in crossover boxing. But at the same time, Stomping Ground have a new mic cover. This is breaking news.
It's a big old day for the sport. Qatar, a groundbreaking one for Misfits, and like you said earlier at the press conference, quite fitting that it's a year on from what was before the biggest card in the prime card.
Yeah, and then, you know, it's obviously a year where the scene hasn't had JJ active. There's no addressing the fact that the king of the crossover scene has been away from the sport this year. So what you do? You put together a card with every single crossover king in there, from Slim to King Kenny to Salt Pappy to Gibb, Deji, Jay Swingler, Nick Mayo, all the names, and Jarvis, Ben Williams, and you put them all on one card. That's what you go and do. That's what you go and do. So, we've rolled the dice, we put them all together, and off we go to the vibrant, amazing city of Doha. So that's going to be a fantastic partnership. So make sure you visit Qatar.
I can only imagine it's going to deliver. On the fight front, you've got a rematch, like you said, between Jay and Nick. But it's the bad blood at the top of the bill that's got everyone talking. Look, do you want me to be honest? Sometimes some of the fight promotion, and I think people will agree with this, especially the mainstream fight fans, can be a little bit too much. I think that today was perfect selling of a fight.
Yeah, I think it's the one sort of fight that hasn't been made in the scene yet, because they normally get made. It's that anticipation of that fight. But look. Again, this is the mainstream version of a crossover card, because it is the names that have been there since day one. It is the names that, even if you don't particularly like the scene, you will have heard of some of those names. Even if you're a traditional box fan, you will have heard of some of those names.
Some of the older viewers won't like that, but they'll know it's true.
You know that it's true. You know that it's true. So it is one of those. It's cheeky, isn't it?
KSI gave a great little sales pitch, but missed out saying anything positive about Deji.
Yeah, but that's what you do with brothers, isn't it? I mean, it's like me giving Nissa a compliment. That would be a bit backhanded as well,
When was the
wouldn't
last time you gave Nissa a compliment?
I don't know. Before he turned up when I was 2 years old, I guess.
Who's Deji going to fight?
I actually apparently I once pushed my brother in my brother's pram down a hill because I didn't want him. I said, you've got to go back. Pushed the pram with him down the hill.
How different would the Sauerland boxing story have been if Nissa wasn't around?
Nissa disappeared. I don't know. Well, I wouldn't be where I am today, that's for sure.
You could have taken all the credit for the World Boxing Super Series.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the fact that when I talk about traditional boxing, I've got to ask Nissa about this and that. He's my go-to.
Right.
Just gave him a compliment there, didn't I?
You did?
Yeah.
There you go.
I'll take that back.
For the first time in your life, how long's your life? What, 20? How old are you now? 28, 29?
Like that.
Anyway, I'll ask you straight up. Who's Deji fighting? There's a few rumours flying about. But
yeah, there's a few rumours flying about. I mean, we had an opponent. I'm not going to say the name because we're hoping that might still sort itself out or might not. But here's what it is. In this scene, we'll fight. Look, Mams Taylor, he's on it 24/7, be a couple of days, and then we'll have a nice announcement. And there's a few more fights to come on that card. So also some mainstream names of the crossover world. A couple still missing from today, and we might see them as well.
Yeah. it wasn't big enough, it will become even bigger. One more on Misfits before we talk about the professional scene and some stuff from Saudi Arabia. When you offering my man, little Charlie Parsons, a contract?
Yeah, you know what? We messaged a couple of weeks ago. I've got to get the chat back up. I think I owe him an answer. I mean, listen, Charlie, if he wants it, he can have it.
Have you got an opponent in mind? Is there one
yeah,
person that springs
I'm looking at Fred Beck right now. I think Fred Beck would be a good one.
If anyone's seen Fred on the pads,
I'm actually looking at him, but he can't hear me. He's very concentrated on his Twitter page. Fred, what do you reckon? Charlie Parsons versus you?
Charlie's a lovely kid. I like
No, okay, so that's the wrong way to start it. Charlie's a lovely kid.
You've done the opposite of what Misfits is about.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, that's off. So we just cancelled that. Fred's definitely not the opponent. Wait, hey, you ask. What?
No, I ain't got the profile yet. No.
Well, that'd be an amazing story. It'd be like the internal fight of the stomping
and plus it's a
round.
mismatch as well.
Oh, shots fired, Charlie. Shots fired. Oscar's gone for you.
The profile's my get out. I ain't got it in me to do a training camp.
I don't know. I think we'll build your profile.
I'll stick this side of the camera for now. Right, Saudi. What did you make of the? I don't know what the perfect word is to use for it. Kerfuffle on the stage at the weigh-in.
Which one are we talking about? The fights or the
promoters?
The promoter. Are you talking about the? Yeah. I think Frank standing there, obviously throughout the weigh-in, but it's his event. He's the licensed promoter of the event, so he's standing in his spot, and Benn's got the fight on that card, and has walked onto the stage and has walked into Frank's space. There's not really much more to say than that. And then Frank's obviously pulled him up on it, and if someone walks into your personal space, I guess you do put them up. But they've clearly had some back and forths before, and Frank's given him a ticking off.
When I spoke to Eddie, he said that contractually, certain promoters have had things written in either fight contracts or, I don't know, potentially a contract with Riyadh season where they have to be front and centre of a weigh-in picture. Is that something you've been aware of?
I have seen contracts like that. I have seen versions like that. I've seen stuff we pushed back on.
Could you sue against that? So if someone wanted to be front and centre and they weren't?
That's the thing. That's why I always laugh about it. I'm like, I couldn't give a shit personally. It is what it is. You know what the weird thing is? Face-offs. Like people want to be in shot, and in a way I get it because you're sort of linked to that fight throughout history. So if that turns into a great fight, you look back at it years to come and say, "Oh, I remember that fight." And so there is a bit of. It's not just ego; it's a bit of prestige with it. I get that part. But I tell you what, I love standing very close to the fights. It's the closest I'll ever be to sucking in that energy. It's like, I get, honestly, goosebumps between when it's, I remember, Josh Taylor was fantastic. He had real energy off him, but obviously the heavyweights, I don't know, there's so many great face-offs, and when you're there, it almost, I don't know, for me at least, it sucks me in, because it's like, you feel, it's like, I don't know.
It's almost like
but being on the street, there's a fight, and you're looking at it. It's the energy of it that I don't know. It's always attracted me. I guess that's why I do what I do. So it's not.
So almost like the closest you'll get to a fight.
It's not about getting my mug in the shot. It's more
the closest you'll get to feeling like a professional fighter.
Yeah, that. But it's such a real vibe, and if anyone's had a tear up before, it's the closest you'll get to reliving that. And I don't know. It's an incredible moment, and people forget that part. That is what the face-off is. It's not about getting people's pictures into the picture or faces into the picture. It's about getting the energy off your opponent, And in some cases, they're totally boring, by the way. And oh my God, let this be over quickly. Come on, guys, eyes front, down the camera. Come on, fists up. But there's others where you're just like, let this go on. Honestly, that sounds mad, but that is really it. I think face-offs have got that incredible energy about them.
Yeah. One thing that Ben Shalom has hinted at is that he called Frank and Eddie lovebirds in an interview that I done with him, almost hinting as if there's been a little bit of a close-off between Frank and Eddie. Is that the way you see it?
First of all, I've spent enough time in the sport just to know that can change very quickly. But at the same time, I'm not really too fussed what Benn thinks about this or that or whatever. And I get that there's been some back and forths over in Saudi, and I'm just like, mate, it was a great card over there. I think Ben's learning that there is some, let's say, some honour between us promoters. Is that it's things you do and you don't do.
Yeah. What's your dealings been like with Ben?
I'm not going to throw my hat in the ring here, right? So I'm not going to comment on that for the moment. But we've done fights. I'm commenting now on it. All right,
You've always been very collaborative.
Yeah, I've done that, but I've done that through making tournaments in this sport, through trying to unify belts, unified divisions before. You don't need to manage to do that. I'm still the believer that that there's no big show without some sort of a collab. It just doesn't exist. So you want to put big shows, you're going to have to work with people you don't like. Who cares? It's about doing business.
We'll look at everyone under one roof at Wembley Stadium. Who wasn't there?
We say all this, but you're talking about now like Eubank, Benn, So you're saying they're shutting him out, but that's not true because Eddie is probably talking to him, trying to via some sort of channel, maybe not directly, but by some sort of channel to try and make that fight. Same probably with Frank trying to make. I saw Liam Cameron. Liam Cameron signed with Frank today, so. I'm sure the first thing that Frank wants to do is get that fight, and quite rightly, get that Whittaker fight. So how's he going to do that? He's going to have to speak to Shalom via a medium. I would be betting. But listen, Frank's made massive fights over there. Like past, I'm not going to say 4 decades, sorry, Frank. I'll say the last 3 decades. I'll be polite, but a long, long time. Let's put it that way. Frank's done fights when I was growing up. And so he knows what it takes to get it done. So people would say, oh, they're shutting this one off. Listen, in boxing, there's not that many people in the promotional circle. And, again, Ben's new. How long he'll last, we'll see. It's as simple as that, I'm fortunate enough to have lasted a quarter of a century in the game. But it's been tough, It's been tough. That's you try 25 years in boxing, and Frank's got a few years on me. How long's Eddie been in the sport? I don't know, 15 years, 16 years, maybe. I remember the first time I saw Eddie. I've always been dealing with Barry before that. I saw him at when we did Hay versus Harrison, and I had Hay and he had Harrison. Time flies, but it's not just an expression. It's a tough old sport. Yeah. Is Ben tough enough? We'll find out.
Yep. You mentioned Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. Just finally on those two, if you could hesitate a guess, how many face-offs do you reckon they've done?
5.
You think 5?
Guessing 5, yeah. Guessing 5. Well, we've done 2 for the original.
I feel like I can't switch on my laptop without seeing them face to face.
No, but there's enough face to faces. I mean,
maybe I'm
going
just
to do it or
fixated
not
by
now.
last week.
Hopefully that chapter closes, and even though I'm not involved, I'll get that get that right out of my life.
Do you, even though you're not involved, do you feel like you need to see the fight happen? Just so you can draw a line under it, even though, like you said, you've got no dog in the fight.
In a weird way, probably, yeah, I do. I don't know. For me, I had that moment in time. People say it's bigger now. It might be bigger. I don't know, but the weight is going to be an issue now. That it wasn't as much of an issue a couple of years ago. Now it really is going to be substantial issue. That's how I see it. Yeah.